Good evening, everyone. Can everybody come in? We're going to start.
Get started.
I really want to. Good evening, everyone. And welcome to the second part, or the second session of the Holland Gardens Visioning Process. Many of you were here when we opened the event several weeks ago, and now we are at our second meeting. And for many of you, you know that we will continue meeting throughout the winter and spring. I really want to take this moment to introduce what's going to happen tonight. I'm Vivian Brady Phillips. I'm the Executive Director of the Jersey City Housing Authority. I want to welcome all of you residents and guests. I especially want to recognize we're very lucky tonight. We have Councilwoman Joyce Waterman, who has joined us this evening. Thank you so much. I also know that Councilman James Solomon has Representative Sarah Ligon here. I want to give you a special welcome as well. Thank you for joining us. So if this is your first time, what we are doing is a multi-session visioning process. And what's a little bit different about this? Typically, when we look at revitalizing, when I say we, the housing authority or many other housing authorities, look at revitalizing a space, what the options are, very often we are doing this with already a development partner.
Excuse me, can you please keep it down because she's kind of talking. Some people cannot hear her. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, President Council President. What we are doing through this process is actually coming to residents first. We are asking you in a series of meetings to tell us, what do you love about Holland Gardens? What would you like to see improved? How would you like this community to move forward? And to help us in this work, we are very lucky to have Kitchen & Associates, a multi-service design firm, which the Jersey City Housing Authority has retained to help us through this multi-session process. So in a few minutes, I'm going to turn it over to Steve Schott and his team to talk about what's going to happen here tonight. But I want to just say a few things. One, this is really a working session. You are here and you have valuable input. And as you can see throughout the room, we have different stations. The goal tonight is for each of you to be able to share your thoughts at these different stations. So we have a lot of work to do. We also have a kids corner in back for the young people who are here tonight, so we welcome them as well. So again, we are doing a lot of work tonight, and as you can see up on the wall, we already have some of the results. We had a brief beginning of the work when we last came together, and you'll see that we have some of those results on the wall. But this is really the first full session that we have. And so with that, I'd like to turn it over to Kitchen & Associates to walk us through this evening's activities. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey.
Well, hello again. Who's here for the first time and wasn't here last time? So there are a couple, but a lot of people here were here from the last time as well. So as you can see, there are no seats in the middle of the, that's the first thing everybody says, like, where am I going to sit down? There's no seats in the middle. That's because this is a working session tonight. There are several stations, and when I get done talking what's going to happen, please don't all go to the same place. We've got one over here by the main table, and then there's another one right here behind Vivian. There's one here behind me, and each one of those is going to talk about something a little bit different. Now, we have people here from my firm. Claudia, raise your hand over there. Claudia's going to be over at the first station. Tracy is over here, and there's John. They all have nice green name tags, which I refuse to wear because they are, what was that?
Bootleg.
Bootleg. They were called bootleg, so I immediately took mine off. I didn't want to be called bootleg. So, there's also some cookies and some pretzels that we brought up from Philly. So there's and some water I saw come in. So there's stuff for you to eat and drink while we do this. Please don't sit and just expect things to come to you. At some point, get up and go. It's not a lot of work. It's a matter of simply getting from you what you already know, like where you're going to hang out or what you really like to do in the neighborhood. Because as we help you and help the Housing Authority figure out the vision for Holland Gardens, we need to know what you think. What we think doesn't matter a whole lot. What you think matters a great, great deal. So I want to call your attention to two pieces of handouts here, because I see some of you have them in your hand. One is a little map, and one is a little white piece of paper. They're at that front table. These are not for you to keep. These are for you to write on and give back to me. You can find me, or you can put them on the table. On the map, all we're asking you to do is take a pen and draw a circle or follow on the map, if you can, where you think your neighborhood is. Because we all define neighborhood differently. So, some of us may just do it as a block. Some people may do all of Jersey City. There's no wrong answers. Nobody's going to get graded. You don't have to put your names on it. And the other is simply to get a sense of what you think of what you already see going on in the area around here. But those two pieces of paper, either put them back there or give them to me. We're going to do this for a little less than an hour. So around 7 o'clock, what we're going to do is we've got to get all that done by 7 o'clock so we can come back, and then we can get a little summary of what we're doing. Last thing, sign in. Okay, I'll give them the high sign. If you haven't signed in, there's a sign-in sheet right by the door. When you get your papers or turn them back in, hit the sign-in sheet. So at this point, you don't have to be quiet anymore. Find a spot, and let's have some fun. Thanks, guys. Oh, wait, one more thing. Yes. Everybody knows he's come back to me or back to the front desk, right?
We want to look at this together later on.
Okay. That's it. Let's have some fun. No line down at that one. You don't have to go in sequence. Some folks go down there.
So anything that you see on the map is not
I'll get you.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can do that. Older side. Yes,
Really? So far, it is
They leave the people that been there for a long time.
So, is there anything in here that you want to add? Thank you.
La gente que estaba ahí, yo quería ver al banco. Vamos por allí. Grocery store.
I wish like I said, school before like that means to go crazy.
I need a mustard.
Do you have anywhere now that the seniors use?
Yes, yes, we just recently.
Señorita, ¿cómo está? Hola.
They say this is what I've been. Anybody else done with their homework? Live streams.
Kids are hard at work.
Oral Park. Did you draw on here where you're from? That's Holland Gardens. Is that how you do the neighborhood? Does your neighborhood include Hamilton Park? Does your neighborhood include Soho House is here. Shasta Ranch is down there. I like it. At about 7 o'clock, we'll bring people back together. So we'll see if people finish early, and we do it early. Are they cutting each other?
I know, we both Facebook Live.
Yeah, what the people say.
When you design it, does it, you have to design it from the wall or?
We need the pool for before daddy. So how are we gonna summarize?
Not just yet.
And you have the microphone. Okay. Can I have your attention for a minute? Wow, that's gonna be a crowd. This is a tough crowd.
Hello, everyone. Please listen up. Thank you. I read your mind. Use my microphone.
Okay. I really don't want to stop all of the good discussions that are going on, but I want to be sure everybody's had a chance to go to each of the right? Anybody not have that chance yet? Did anybody not hand in their homework? Okay. So we're done a little bit early, which is really good, because that gives us a little bit more time to wrap up and talk together a little bit. And I know we don't have as many chairs out, so it's not easy to stand. So, I think I just, no, there. Okay. So what we're going to, there it is. It comes and goes. So what we're going to do, we're going to quickly summarize. We're going to quickly summarize some of the things that we've heard at the different areas. So I'm going to let some of my colleagues, I think I'm going to start with Claudia, who's by the first one. And so she's going to bring that over and give you a sense of what it is that we've heard you say tonight in terms of so why don't we use this over here? So if you're sitting against the wall, you might not be able to see the exhibit, but so what we're going to do, we're just going to summarize what's going to happen tonight, and we're going to tell you about the next one. Who remembers when the next meeting is? March 19th is always the third Tuesday of the month. So if you can write it down, March 19th. Claudia, why don't you come in and use the microphone. Hopefully it doesn't cut out. And what you're not loud. I'm loud. I don't want to talk about somebody else who's loud. Okay.
Okay, so I was working with residents on this discussion about the neighborhood, and there are a few topics related to the neighborhood that are important. The first one that I wanted to mention is that we talked about what is your favorite place in the neighborhood. Now, all of us understand that question in slightly different ways. Some people had very specific locations in the neighborhood where they really love, and that was pointed from the get-go. And for some people, most people, what we heard was that this is a neighborhood that really has a lot going for residents. So we heard some aspects that we kind of thought were the case before even we asked the question, but then I learned a lot about what I heard right now. So one of the key topics was the understanding of the boundaries of the neighborhood. And even though we have a very strong avenue here, 14th Street, that you would think like, well, this is really what defines the neighborhood. For most people, the neighborhood is everything that you see on this map, which means from Hoboken all the way to downtown, including Hamilton Park, the schools where most of the children attend. Oh, look, now it's working. So it's a very big area. The notion of neighborhood here is really the city of Jersey City for most people. And there are some specific amenities that are very important for residents. A lot of people walk. Most people walk, and most people walk in different directions, all the way down to 6th Street, to Newport, to Hoboken. There are a lot of people, and Pamela can help us with that. She gave me a tour of the entire this part of the city and the areas where she walks, and specifically getting all the way to the waterfront. So the park, the bikeway, and the walkways all along the waterfront are used by a lot of the residents, and this is really important for a lot of people. In terms of services, supermarkets, all kinds of retail that are available to everyone. So we heard Home Depot, Target, we heard supermarkets in general. We also heard from Nick, who talked about the fact that he needs to see doctors on a regular basis, and he has access to all of these doctors right here in this part of the city, and he doesn't have to move around too much to get to them. So all in all, I think the big message that I learned, and please, anyone who talked to me and anyone who wants to add to this, was that this portion, this side where Holland Gardens is located, is a great location for most residents, because this is where you have your kids going to great schools. This might be a fact of Hi. So there are some great schools, public schools, charter schools, where kids go to, kids who are living at Holland Gardens. Access to jobs. There are quite a few residents who work right around the side in some locations, right, just a few blocks from this area. So the connection with the neighborhood is really strong. There are residents who have been living here for over 10 years, 20, some residents living since 1966. So there is really a strong connection with this entire part of the city, and it's really important. I think that was the message that I got, that it's really important to make sure that we recognize the services and the access that people have to this area, which may be slightly different in other parts of Jersey City in general. Anybody wants to add to this? Anybody who we talked and I heard?
Well, you don't have a square area included?
I'm sorry?
The square, like when you go to the square, that's what, I don't know some people up there, but I do, I know that a lot of people go that.
When you say the square, are you?
Yeah, it's not on this map.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, Jordan Square. No, it's not on the map, but that is there were a few areas outside of the map that were mentioned. Christ Hospital was mentioned as an important reference. William Dickinson High School, some of the kids go to Dickinson High School, even though it's not necessarily in the area of the Holland Gardens. And of course, access to PATH, to Hoboken Terminal, all of the options that residents have to get not only to the city, but to other parts of the region. It's pretty easy, so that's also a major asset of this location. Anything else that anybody wants to add?
Access to in and out the Holland Tunnel. That's the best thing you can ride.
The turnpike, give me a bottle, please.
78, everything.
Everything.
To get to 280.
109.
109.
So I heard only one resident mentioning that she drives around to places. Most residents talk about walking and transit. So that is definitely a very unique feature of this area too. Okay, so this is my report of the neighborhood plan. John? Or are you going to talk about this? Okay.
Thank you.
So,
Okay, so we had two boards. One is the best thing about living in this neighborhood is, and the other one is what would be even better in this neighborhood. This neighborhood still needs. So, in general, I think that there were quite a few things that everybody likes about their neighborhood. You can see there's a lot of jobs there. Maybe retail and services, maybe there needs to be more of those, but there's kind of a general sprinkling of things. I heard that people like their home, that they feel safe here, that the jobs are nearby. But I think in general that there's more things that people would like to see in the neighborhood. And two really important ones are better transit and better housing. So if anybody else would like to add anything else that I may have missed, I just have some general reading from these dots on the neighborhood boards.
That's noise and traffic.
More dots, okay.
That was school.
I have one question. So better housing, what does that mean? How do you define better housing?
So that's just more of a generic topic where we talk about, and we add detail to that question in this section here, where we start talking about what does housing in terms of the site amenities and in terms of the units need to be considered better housing. So maybe once we complete that discussion here, it helps add to that. Do you want to cover?
Just segue over to John.
Yeah.
Sure.
Just working it all.
Take it up.
Yeah,
I think I'm just gonna use my voice to put this down, because this thing is kind of interrupting. So over here, we were talking about the housing itself, both, the development amenities, what is in Holland Gardens for tenants to use, what types of things they would like to see, what things they have that they would like, and then also what's within the units, unit amenities, sizes, things like that. Overarching, I think tenants really felt that the actual units were a little bit small, in particular the bedrooms of storage. That was kind of overwhelmingly marked over here, as well as in the comments, just that the unit sizes themselves were a little bit confined. Another conversation with quite a few individual tenants was handicapped accessibility. People who have disabilities and have to walk up staircases, and that, in a 4-story walk-up building, a lot of tenants who do have mobility issues are walking up stairs, and even a second-floor unit can be a challenge if you have problems with your legs, use a cane, etc. So that was something that I heard multiple times. Another one that didn't get as many marks but kind of stood out was a washer-dryer. We heard was that tenants can and do often have washer dryers in their unit, but it's something you have to pay extra for. If you don't have it, it's a fairly long walk across a busy street to be able to do laundry. There's nowhere in the neighborhood that is easy to do laundry. So that's something that is a challenge, not for everybody, but when it is a challenge, it's a real one. As far as the amenities, I heard that you guys recently got a senior center, just in the last several months, to live with seniors. So that would be a nice thing to kind of keep and develop and increase the programming. Again, elevators, going back to the accessibility issue. The fitness room, I don't know, it seems like you guys walk everywhere according to the earlier report, but maybe the fitness room too to stay in shape to be able to do that. And then parking, because the surrounding parking is alternate side, and therefore, even if you do get a parking spot on the street, you often have to move it again the next day. The on-site parking is limited and is used by other people. So the parking amenity became a real question. Even though there's sort of ample street parking, it's inconvenient to use it because of that constantly having to move your car around. Again, echoing everything else, the people are happy with the location. It's convenient, they're able to get to most of the stuff they want. Safe, but people want more space, bigger kitchens, bigger bathrooms. They'll all just sort of talk to the age of the housing. And, if anybody wants to add anything or ask me any questions.
I want to ask a question. I saw that there were a lot of residents who pointed to the option to get a package or pizza delivered to their address. So I'm curious to understand a little better, how does it work today and what kind of challenges, if there are any challenges, that you have related to deliveries and things like that?
Okay, so the problem is housing will not collect our packages. I don't know, it was probably issues in the beginning, because at one point in time they did. Now, they won't. So either we have to go to the post office to pick it up, or either it's dropped in front of our door. And then we don't even know that we received our package. Or somebody even stole it, we don't get to sign for it, nothing. So that's a big issue with us now. Once upon a time, we got all our packages here. Then all of a sudden, we just cut off. So we get nothing but mail.
And what happens in terms of deliveries, like if you order a pizza, do you get it delivered?
They want us to come outside and pick it up.
Claudia.
They will not bring it up the stairs, they won't ring the buzzer, and we're not even hostile environment, we don't have a hostile environment at all for them to do.
Claudia.
That's a majority each year, one by one, going down the list, they decide not to come at all. Because I've had my favorite locations when I first moved here, and one by one started deciding, we're just not delivering.
The only person is Larry and Joe, they still come up the stairs.
Yeah. This woman had
Oh,
a
yeah, they're
comment.
not scared of nothing.
I was reiterating on what she was saying, that you have to leave delivery people alone.
My mama just orders stuff, she has to go up the block, or you gotta meet them by the store, or
On the
stuff like
main
that.
avenue.
Instead of like anywhere else, you get your thing delivered to your door, right?
Any other feedback for John or on the units?
As far as the parking, the problem is, even though it's ultimate side parking, that's really not the biggest issue. The biggest issue is that you have all these development companies, these developments went up. They have parking, but they charge their residents. So now they're taking all of our parking spaces because they don't want to pay for the parking that they put in those buildings. So now we have been pushed to park so far. It's ridiculous. So far away from our development. Plus our parking lots are like, what is that? That's like a little, you only fit like 10 cars in the parking lot. That's the worst thing ever. So that is a major issue on this site that I do know, because if you do park somewhere, what, you're getting a ticket on your car, it's getting towed, you can't, it's like, you can't win. You can't win when you have a car down here. It's horrible.
So this has changed in the last year or
It has
so?
gotten much worse. Jersey City's always had a little parking problem. But when these developments, this was all empty, you could park all around it. You could park on the gate if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But now that these developments have gone up, they have all these no parking. Yes, they're taking our parking spaces. Oh yeah, they dump their garbage in.
He tells them more water out. He
Yeah,
tells them, go back to
all
Robinson's not here. He tells them more water. He made them black.
Of course.
They come and dump their garbage. The dogs too?
Everything.
Everything.
Yeah, they all their dogs over here.
Dogs, they bring their trash down here. But they complain about us? No.
They complain about the people that live here all the time. Claudia, John, anything else?
No, not right now.
Let me have your attention for just another second here. If you haven't seen what the children what the kids were doing here in this corner, you really need to see what the kids were doing here. There are two kids that are dying for hot tubs. I mean, they're dying for hot tubs. One of them actually drew the hot tub. The other put the hot tub in great letters on. They're just dying for it. The kids are actually doing a lot of good work, because what they're doing while you're putting dots on, they're writing out, these are the things that I'd like to see in my home. This is what I'd like to see. This is how I want to live. And you know, we often get very interesting feedback at the Kids Corner, and your kids did not disappoint. Jaslyn, who drew up. So I don't even have to start drawing. All you have to do is like Xerox what Jaslyn drew here, and you'll see that next time. So before you go, we're taking this with us, but make sure you come look at what the kids have done. So we are pretty much finished a little bit early because you've done really great work. So I believe in rewarding really good work. But again, in a month, we'll be back.
Oh, they
You guys did a lot of work tonight.
They don't even wanna have that. They
What
wanna
do you think? During the next month, we're gonna do a lot of work and come back and tell you what we think about what we heard. Because part of this process starts with us understanding and us learning from you. Then, last time I described the design process like a big funnel, where there's a lot of options at the top, at the opening. And as we go forward, we're gonna get narrower and narrower until we come up with your vision for Holland Gardens. So next time, we're gonna start showing you a lot of different types of things. And we're gonna decide together which things stay and which things go. And the things that stay, we're gonna work harder on those and make them a little bit more refined. That's the process that we're gonna work through. So next time, it's not gonna be stations like this. It's gonna be a bit more of a show and tell and getting some of your feedback from that. And at some point, I don't know if it's gonna be this next meeting or maybe the meeting after that, the Housing Authority, we all have to start talking about that evil word called money. Because, as I said last time when we were here, a pretty picture that you can't afford to build is just a pretty picture. What we're looking for is not just a great vision, but a great vision that we can actually make into reality. And making the things into reality in this day and age requires a lot of money. Now, we know that things can change. We see it changing, one of us here tonight, we see it changing all around us. But how can we make this property, how can we make the residents of Holland Gardens lives start getting some of that change and tapping into the resources that are available to do that? That's a big question. That's where design and implementation come over. So we are done a little bit early. Vivian, Steve, is there anything else that you want to say for the, yes, there's a question.
What is the money that was given for the housing budget for?
The 2,090, something, 7,000.
The 249,000?
Yes.
That is for the Family Self-Sufficiency Program that predominantly works with Section 8 tenants. And what it allows those tenants to do is to set goals. And then if they see an increase in their salary, they're able to, if they meet their goals, use that money to spend on a particular goal they might have, which might be going back to school or, buying a house. What we're looking to do is actually begin to expand the Family Self-Sufficiency Program to offer that same program to public housing residents. So that's what that $249,000 is for.
So that's only for the people that have.
Yes, it's for the family.
They don't have Section 8 because if they did, it wouldn't even be used.
Yeah, it is a program that is funded by the federal government. It is not money that we can use for whatever we want. It's for a particular program model that the Housing Authority has been doing, and now we've been able to grow that program. Yes.
Are there other questions that people have? This question over here.
Every apartment should have their own parking.
So that's a comment about parking, about maybe we should consider that's called designated parking, where you've got parking spot number 23, and help the person that isn't you that parks in parking spot 23, right? Because you want your spot, and when you're not there, you want it empty, so it's there when you come back. So designated parking is one of the things that we've been writing down and incorporating into what we've heard. Okay? That's true too, where some families have more than one vehicle. That's true. Other final thoughts? Okay, I'm gonna let Vivian have a final word here, but the team from K&A, from Kitchen Associates, we're gonna be hanging around. If there's something that you didn't say, that you want one of us to know, we're gonna be hanging around while we close up and things like some people don't like talking in big public rooms. I get the sense that that's not most of your problems. But if you want to bring something to us privately, by all means do so. We're going to be hanging around for another 15, 20 minutes or so as we pack up. But Vivian, why don't you close us out?
Sure. I just want to thank all of the residents who came. I want to thank Councilwoman Waterman for joining us this evening. Means a lot to have her here. Want to thank the resident council for their ongoing support. You know, this is a process that is going to last throughout the spring. We will be posting the live stream of this on our website. It's live streaming on Facebook. You can follow us now on Twitter. All of the information that's gathered at these sessions is public information. You can go back and revisit it. I hope to see everybody here on March 19th. If you can't come in person, please check out the information that's available online. We really want to make this as public a process as possible as we move forward with the vision. So thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Good luck.